We are now just under 6 months away from the official release of Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker by writer and director J.J. Abrams. That is all set and ready to introduce many different revelations that will lead to saga-wide implications in this story. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel for future Star Wars content. So, looking forward to Episode 9, we do know that this film really is going to deliver when it comes to the twists and the turns, as well as all of the connections to the prequels and the originals that are going to benefit both Rey and Kylo Ren as characters in Episode 9. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film, and when it all comes down to one of the concept art descriptions, this is where things begin to get very exciting for Episode 9. Now, specifically, it's described that a description of Rey entering a large structure that is said to be built into a tall canyon on an unknown world that is described to be the home that once belonged to her father. It said that Rey eventually makes her way down to the basement of this structure that contains many secrets of Rey's father. The next describes Rey coming across many of her father's belongings, where it's described that Rey eventually comes across of what's said to be a transmission of her father, speaking about the Beyond. It's described that her father was the one who discovered that the Beyond holds a power that is stronger than both the light or the dark side, and that a whole new medium of power was discovered that allows one to discover their full potential. Additionally, it's said that all of those who had traveled there never returned, and that only the Dark Acolytes are able to find their way out from the Beyond. It said that it was also Rey's father who discovered that the Beyond contains a bridge to the unknown regions, and that the Beyond can also lead to seeing events of the future in a more vivid way. It's described that Rey's father mentions a legend that the Wills were the ones who created the Beyond, dropping the first big reference to the godlike beings created by George Lucas. So let's go over a couple of parts about this and why I think that this is just spectacular. Now, we do know that Episode 9 is really going to add in a lot of new aspects to the franchise that fans would have never expected to see on the big screen. Let's talk about this power that is said to be a different medium of power, where it's going to be a third kind of power. You have the light, you have the dark, and then whatever this new power is going to be exactly what powers the Dark Acolyte / the Spear of Sidious, and what really made that all possible. Now, what I like about this is that this is going to give us a proper villain in Star Wars Episode 9. One would argue 2 films too late. You know, I guess it's okay to say that for some people out there. I understand that. But when we look at the sequel trilogy, we do know that Kylo Ren was very conflicted in The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi, and now in Episode 9, at least in the first and second act of the film, he's going to be fully embraced with the dark side of the Force. Now, I want to go over Rey's father, though. Now, Rey is said to actually discover a transmission of her father, where he's talking about the Beyond and revealing new secrets about whatever place this really is within the galaxy, or if it's like a different realm or a dimension, we're still not quite sure. But nonetheless, it contains a power that is stronger than both the dark and the light. Now, I'm not quite sure if they ever covered that in Star Wars Legends. To my knowledge, I haven't seen something actually like that per se, associated with a place. But what's really intriguing about this also is that Rey's father is said to mention a legend about the Wills being the ones responsible for developing the Beyond, for creating the Beyond and whatever it really is. Now, the Wills are these godlike beings created by George Lucas. I don't know if you guys knew this, but these godlike beings watch over all of the events that take place from Star Wars Episodes 1 all the way up until Star Wars Episode 6, and now most likely even the sequel trilogy itself. So the Wills are a very interesting aspect of Star Wars that actually have never been touched on in a Star Wars movie, and I believe it's exactly what Luke was actually referencing in the original The Last Jedi teaser trailer, where we heard the dialogue of Luke telling Rey, it's so much bigger. What was so much bigger? We never got any kind of clarification on that, as that piece of dialogue by Luke was not in the final cut of the movie. So moving on forward, the other piece that I do want to go over is that it was Rey's father who first discovered that the unknown regions holds a bridge to the beyond. Now, that's a very interesting aspect there, and also explains as to why Ezra Bridger was able to sense the beyond during his time in the unknown regions, as we went over a couple of weeks ago. So you can really see how this movie really is tapping into a lot of Force lore and introducing all of these different aspects of the franchise that are going to open up so many different possibilities of the future of the Star Wars franchise, you know, whether it be for the new Star Wars trilogy or a live-action TV series or a novel or a book, whatever it may be. J.J. Abrams is opening up the possibilities of where the Star Wars franchise can really go to create a whole entire new era and a whole entire new library of Star Wars content. So that's one thing to look forward to for sure. Now, the last piece that I will say is that Rey's father is said to be very prominent in this movie as far as legend goes, and in the form of flashbacks, etc. We do know that J.J. Abrams said that there's a lot more to Rey's parentage in this story. Anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.